All right, PPP, Payment Protection Program Loan Forgiveness. And what's the difference between PPP and the EIDL grant? Finally, how does a PPP self-employed individual apply? These are the three questions that we are going to answer in this video. You've already sent a lot of comments. Keep them coming, but these are big ones. And as you know, we do not mince our words, and we're coming at you with bad news right from the very beginning of this video. That is, stay away from PPP. Do not get a PPP loan. Why are we saying this to you? There's a lot of bad stuff that we have learned in recent days through the reporting on the PPP process. Let's back up and let's do this first with PPP versus EIDL grant. What are the differences between the two? The EIDL grant is a grant, meaning it is money given to you. You applied before. If you haven't, you can't now. The window is closed. But if you applied before, you provided information, you sit back, and you get a direct deposit into your bank account. That is it. You don't have to repay the money. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to submit any other paperwork. It is a grant. You're done. PPP, however, is a process. You provide information, you get a loan approved. Then comes the loan forgiveness, which is the subject of this video, the big subject of this video. You think you could get the loan forgiven? But no, don't think it's going to happen. So let me explain to you what is the worry and the big concern that should cause you to stay away from PPP loans. It's the following. It's actually two items. First, the PPP loan forgiveness. The way it works is if you're approved, you have to then spend the money, submit the bills and receipts to your lender by a date in the middle of June, and then the lender provides that documentation to SBA to then forgive your loan. Remember, this is a loan, it's not a grant. To forgive your loan, meaning you don't have to repay your loan. This is what we're saying to you. Don't trust the lender. Why? Many of these lenders are basically bait and switch operations. They are actually writing lots of loans and want to write loans in an operation in which they don't have a phone number that answers. They don't provide you any organizational structure. You barely know who runs these banks. There's one person, and you have no idea who the supervisor is. And third, many cases they don't have physical address. And fourth, if you Yelp them or look up any consumer reviews of them, they have 1 to 2 stars. The worst type of reviews you can possibly see of a business. And this is the business you're dealing with? So let's back up. Presumably, you've gotten your loan approved. You got the money, you put it in the bank, and let's say it's $100,000. You start writing those checks to those payroll employees. You spend the $100,000. You've done everything you're supposed to do. I expect you to do everything correct because you're watching this video. You know how to do things correctly. You get your paperwork ready. You submit your paperwork in late May, early June. You got it already, and you submit that paperwork to the lender to get the loan forgiven. There's a catch, big catch. You're assuming the lender has their act together. Most of these lenders are a hot mess. They do not have their act together. And you are sitting back hoping that after you do everything right, after you get all your documents ready and you provide them the documents timely and correct, that the lender does everything right. Well, guess what? When that date comes around in mid-June, you know that date, you have it marked on your calendar, loan forgiveness date, and the lender hasn't gotten back to you whether they submitted the documents to SBA, what are you going to do? You don't have a company that answers a phone. You don't have a direct person that has a direct dial number. They are not down the street. You can't knock on their door. They are a ghost bank that gave you money, and now you're hoping on that date in the middle of June that they're going to do the right thing and submit your documents. What if they don't? If they don't, you are stuck with a loan. And what does that mean? If you were given a loan, for example, for $100,000, you did everything right, you paid everyone, you paid your employees, you paid your insurance, you paid your property insurance, you submitted the documentation, you hoped the loan for $100,000 was going to be forgiven, and it's not, you're then stuck on the hook to repay $100,000 that you don't have. You already spent it. Plus interest. You have to repay the loan plus interest. That is the problem about the PPP Loan Forgiveness Plan. Basically, if your lender does not do what they're supposed to do, and you hope they do, but they don't, there is no loan forgiveness. You're on the hook. You're on the hook for every single penny that you already spent, plus interest, and you have to repay it very, very soon. Why would anyone do any type of business like that? It's too scary. Here's the other thing another reason why you should stay away from PPP. It is the window of the loan forgiveness. It is so unhelpful. It is so detrimental. It is so scary that even lenders have told me they don't like it. Basically, you have to spend the money by mid-June and submit that document by mid-June. Now, what does that mean? You have to have your entire workforce, all your employees that you ask for money based upon, back at work and working and paying them 2 months' salary by mid-June. How do you do that if you're a non-essential business and you're still on staying home? If you're non-essential business and you're stay-at-home currently at the time of watching this video, let's give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's say the stay-at-home order is lifted by late May. You got 1 week to pay them 2 months of salary? Who's going to pay employees 2 months of salary in 1 week? But in many cases, the stay-at-home orders for non-essential businesses are not being lifted in late May. We already know that. So you're getting a loan in April to pay people to work that can't work, and you have to repay, and you have to give evidence of that by mid-June. It's next to impossible. It is a scenario that you should stay far, far away. And we rarely ever say anything like this, that an operation is just destined to crumble underneath your feet. But that is why you should not take PPP loan money. What are the scenarios in which you should take PPP loan money? Basically two. One, it's a bank that you do business with. It's a big bank. It's someone down the street. You know where they are. You do business with them. You know the branch manager. You know they exist. If there's problem, you just know you have a going relationship with them. They are not bank of nowhere in the middle of nowhere that don't answer the phone. That this is a bank down the street or in your community that you deal with and you trust. That's one scenario. Second scenario is you actually are certain that you can get your employees back to work and pay them by mid-June. If you have those two scenarios in place, then PPP is for you. But if you don't take PPP money. Lastly, is there going to be another version of PPP? You know, a lot of lenders are actually talking about that there's another version of PPP, that they're hoping that the PPP deadline of mid-June to submit the documentation for PPP loan forgiveness will be extended. Just don't do it. Don't go into a loan assuming something that hasn't been approved, because it may not be approved, and you're on the hook for all that money. If you are not in dire straits of needing this loan, and the lender is an operation that you have never dealt business with, and you are uncomfortable with them after watching this video, don't take the money. Do not take the money. EIDL grant money that you get versus PPP loan is money for you. The moment it comes into your bank account, it is yours. You are done. There's nothing else to report. Also, as you'll follow us in other videos, we talk about PUA. If you are if your business has been interrupted, either in full or partial capacity because of coronavirus, you should have already applied for a PUA application. The window for it opened on April 28th. In some states, they took it a few days before. But if you've not, apply for PUA as well. Between PUA and EIDL grant, you can get money that is yours and you don't have to sit back fearing. With that, we are here to update you on anything that comes on the horizon, whether it's EIDL grant, PUA, PPP, stimulus check, proposed stimulus check. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. We respond very quickly back to you. But stay with LALATE for more.